Hey guys, what's up? It's Destry. Welcome back to my yard. Tonight I'm going to be talking about how to put my Amaryllis bulbs into dormancy to get them ready for more winter blooms. So stick around for the video. So a lot of people buy Amaryllis bulbs at the big box stores in November and December. They sell them pretty regularly, pretty much everywhere. And so you might have forced an Amaryllis bulb before, but did you know that actually when you're done forcing the bulb, you can actually keep the Amaryllis plant and keep it as a house plant? I think most people probably just cut the dead bloom off or figure that it's bloomed and then they just pull this out and throw it away, which is really unfortunate because Amaryllis bulbs take many, many years to mature. And actually what you can do is just keep them, in the pot, put them in a sunny location, and they will continue to put out new leaves. And all the while the bulb is actually, absorbing nutrients from the sun and the water. So anyway, however, it is the time of year now that it's into fall and September that these need to go into dormancy in order for me to get blooms again this November, December, around the holiday time. I actually need to do a little surgery to these bulbs and pull them out of the pots and, force them into dormancy. That way the bulb has some time to recover before I try to force it again in a warm location, like a sunny window in November, December, to get another bloom out of it. So let me show you my other bulbs and show you how I'm going to go about this today. So here are the 3 bulbs that have been hanging out in the greenhouse this summer. I have been keeping them watered. You can see one is top dressed with a little bit of moss. One is top dressed with some pebbles or rocks. And this one I think had some moss, but it's kind of gone away. So what I did with these Amaryllis is about almost probably a week, probably maybe a little bit more, I stopped watering them. So they are starting to show some signs of, flopping back and turning yellow. So I do want to get them out of these pots and into like a dormant state so that they will bloom for me again. So my plan tonight is pretty simple. Basically, I'm going to remove some of this foliage. I'm going to pull the bulbs out of the pot and actually repot them in some fresh potting soil. And I'm also going to be, kind of, redoing their treatment here just to kind of, freshen everything up. So I'm going to remove some of this spent, I don't know what you call this stuff, papery stuff away from the bulbs and just kind of clean them up. The 3 pots that are here actually do not have drainage holes because when I had these inside, I, didn't want them to have drainage on my piano where I had them. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pull these bulbs out, freshen up the soil. I'll probably use these same pots as long as the root systems look like they will fit and they look pretty healthy. And I might also trim a little bit off of the roots as well. And then I'm going to put these in a really, cold location, as cold as I can get it. So the temperatures at night are starting to get chillier, but actually I think I'm going to be moving these inside. So I'll show you that here in a few minutes too. I've got a couple extra pots here just to, have somewhere to put some of the dirt and some of this moss and stuff. I can reuse the moss if I want to, and if it's still in good shape. So I'll have to kind of pull it out here and see. I don't know if this is showing up on my camera. So I'm going to go like that. You guys see that? I hope. It's kind of a sunny evening, afternoon here in my yard. I'm just going to kind of see what's happening in here. Oh, wow. Wow, that's crazy. Look at those roots on this thing. So you can see the root system is actually really healthy. The plant itself is really healthy, and that leads me to believe that the bulb is going to, be really healthy and bloom again for me as well. I'm just going to go ahead and clean up around the bulb, like this papery area. And just kind of clean that up a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is take off these green parts. So I've seen a couple different you know, in my research, I've seen a couple different ways to do this. Some people leave the green on and they, you know, say that that will help, you know, divert energy back into the bulb. So I've seen that way of doing it, but I'm going to try this way of doing it this year, and then we'll see how that does. So I'm going to go ahead and remove some of this soil from the root ball. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking I'm probably going to have to pot these up a size into like a bigger size container. So I'll have to see how that goes. So for now though, I'm just going to like get rid of some of this soil. And the nice thing is it's pretty dry because I haven't watered these in a while. So I can just pretty easily kind of shake it off here and get rid of it. And I think I might need to stand up and do this process. So I'm going to do that. Okay. So here's what I've got. The roots are really healthy. Now, again, I've seen different ways of doing this, but the way that I'm going to try to follow tonight is a method where you actually trim some of the roots away as well. So I'm going to get rid of some of these roots, maybe by a third or so. So not too much. I'm going to trim these up just so they're like a little easier to deal with. And then I can pot this on to a bigger pot. And that way it will be ready to, you know, move into that other location. I want it to be somewhere cool and somewhere dark to, you know, force that dormancy. The other thing you can do if you don't want to pot them up immediately is put them like in a brown paper bag and put them somewhere cool and dark. So depending on how much potting soil I have, that might be what I end up doing. So we'll have to see here. You can see this is the pot I was using. So actually it does have one little drainage hole there. And I think honestly that I trimmed the roots, I could probably get it back in there. When you pot an amaryllis bulb, you want to be sure to only pot it about halfway up to the bulbous part. You don't want to cover it here with dirt. You just want it about halfway. But I think this amaryllis could probably benefit from some new soil anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and set that one aside, and I'm going to go ahead and start the next one. This one has pebbles. I'm going to save those. So this one, I was going to show you guys. So this one actually has little babies, has little pups. So eventually you can actually remove those from the mother plant, but I'm actually going to leave them attached to the mother plant until they get a little bit bigger, or at least that's my plan. We'll see how it goes with this one. If it's too hard to do that with, you know, kind of cleaning up the roots, then I might end up having to separate them. So we'll just have to see how this goes. So this is what it looks like when they start to reproduce. So I think I'm going to try to keep them attached if I can. Like I said, I think that's the method I'm going to go with. I'm going to clean this up just a little bit. But yeah, these bulbs look really, really healthy. And then I need to trim this one. I need to trim the foliage of this one too. again. So I'm stimulating or simulating and stimulating its dormancy period. So I'm telling the plant, I'm done, the season's over, you can be done growing now. And I'm going to put it into dormancy so that I can force that bulb, put it in a warm environment in my home, and get that pretty holiday bloom. All right, so there's that guy. He's cute. He looks like a peace sign. Okay. All right, so I did a little bit more research, and it turns out I actually don't want to pot these up right now. What I'm going to do with them, you guys, is I'm going to put them in like a paper bag. In fact, I'll probably do 3 different paper bags and leave the paper bag kind of open so it has some airflow. And then I'm going to put them in a cold, dark location, and I'm going to do that for a couple months. Basically, right now it's the start of September. So September, October, probably the end of November, mid-November, I might pull them out and then repot them. Because I got to thinking, I was like, well, wait a minute, because when you buy them in the kits, they're not in the soil. Like I started thinking about it, and I'm like, wait, I think I misspoke. So I'm going to pull them out. And I also wanted to tell you that you can actually leave the foliage on here, and according to some, you know, like I said, the bulb will like soak in some of the energy from the greens. I don't have space to do that in my house, which is where I'm going to be putting these right now. I'm going to put them right now in the air conditioning, and then later on when it gets cooler outside, I'll probably be putting them outdoors. So anyway, I am going to go ahead and, you know, I did go ahead and trim the tops and I trimmed the roots just to kind of make them a little bit more compact. And there's nothing wrong with that either. These will just yellow and fall off. And so then you'll just have the kind of top of the bulb here. Anyway, so I'm going to go grab some paper bags and bag these up. And then I'm going to be done with this project of putting them into dormancy. It's kind of a quick and easy project, which I like projects like that, especially after a long work day. Something that I can feel like I accomplished something, but it's just something that doesn't take a real long time. So I'm excited to see if this process works. I will be honest with you and tell you it's the first time I've ever tried to do this. Normally, I'm like most people where I force the bulbs and then I just kind of chuck them out in the new year. But I really got to thinking that how wasteful that is, and how I really wanted to try to do this process. So I will let you know how it goes. I'll keep you updated. And tell me in the comments, have you ever done this process? Have you ever over summered your amaryllis and then forced them again the following year? And how did that work out for you? I would love to hear your experiences with this. All right, we're going to try this method. I got them all bagged up. I have a spot in my house near the AC vent where I'm going to put them right now. And then when it gets cold enough outside, I will move them probably to the greenhouse where it'll be cold, but also dry for a little while. And hopefully they will rebloom for me. I guess we'll find out. Thanks for checking out this video tonight. If you liked it, please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. If you need me, I'll be in the yard. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.